Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I think in the country of Georgia, a little coup is ongoing. And if you're not familiar with what happened over there, the elected officials, the democratically elected officials of Georgia, they do what they do best, make laws, right? Like United States of America. Put Georgia in the same context as United States of America. It's a parallel, okay? And we're gonna compare and contrast. So we have lawmakers over there as United States. They decided to put forth and vote for a certain law, which would say that NGOs that receive more than 20% of their funding from outside sources, could be, I don't know, CIA, could be, Secretary of State, could be Soros. If you're over 20% of the funding comes from outside sources, then you have to register as a foreign agent. All right, that's what it is. That the elected officials, like United States, they make this law. They put it forth to vote, like in a democracy. Well, it seems like all of a sudden people in Georgia realize that, hey, that's not what we want. I mean, if you would tell me this, I wouldn't even know what the hell that was. But I knew that something like this was voted in another country, and that was Russia. And Russia did that purposely because they said, you know what? Purposely, with the idea that, hey, we know that certain kind of NGOs are actually funded by certain countries, certain departments in other countries, which they pointed the finger exactly to the United States. United States considers us not an adversary, but more than that. So we think that this funding is not over there in these NGOs to just promote freedom and democracy and a healthy society. They're over there working to undermine our government and so on. So they did the same thing again with the parliament, with the Duma. They voted, and through legal means they determined that, like United States for America. Of course, it's not the same thing as sending billions of dollars to Ukraine without vote, like Biden does. But hey, this is democracy here, and what they have over there is not democracy. Remember, those guys did not do anything illegal or outside of the democratic system that everybody loves here. So that means elected officials put forth a vote for this law, and then mass protest. Go. All right, mass protest. I'm happy to see a healthy society where people go and protest. I don't like when things go, off the rails and the protests become violent. That's not how should I put it, a rally that becomes into a whatever it is, a violent uprising, or however you want to call it. And I think it's the duty of the government to use its repressive forces or the police to keep peace for the rest of the citizens, because a lot of the Georgians, I guarantee you, they didn't want to see that display of aggression. And this mass tried to storm the Georgian parliament, the elected officials, something like in January 6th. You remember that one? It's just different reason, but the same. People tried to break in and broke windows and so on, like the insurrection. But here in the United States, they called it an insurrection, and these guys wanted to, and they did, enter the Capitol. Over there, those guys tried the same thing, but it's not condemned by these guys. Only that's condemned because that happens to them and it was against them. I don't support whatever happened in January 6th, that's for sure. I think that was not right. Let's leave it there. It's a lot of it was not right. It should not have happened. However you look at it, violence, no. Now, if the government becomes tyrannical, then that's a different story. But here, no. Democratic system voted, followed its whatever course, as corrupt as it is, the same here. But these guys are not condemned by the lovers of democracy. And then they say, well, we want that law not to be voted on. Now, those weasels, under this pressure of the masses, they conceded. They say, okay, we're not going to vote that, we're going to drop it. You expect that you got, as a mass, where you want it. Now you, because you said yesterday and the day before, you're going to go home now. Or at least it's all good, right? You got what you wanted. Isn't that why you protested? No. We got you running. We want to keep you running. So now it's going to be like, oh, we're still going to protest. So it was not about the the law. It was about the government. It was the whomever was in power over there was not on the side of the forces that I was talking about. And I suspect they're over there. So let's see here what's going on. So this comes from Russia Today, March 9th, 2023. Georgian MPs withdraw bill after violent protests. So far that's accurate. It was violent protests, some of them, and this guy said, okay, all right, okay, we're gonna cave into the masses, the mob. All right. As I told you, nothing illegal from the MPs. Everything was legal. The draft law on foreign agents caused differences of opinion, the ruling party conceded. Well, there's difference of opinion in the United States of America with sending money and military weapons and all that to Ukraine. Do they care? No. And they don't have to go outside and be violent or anything like that. It's just opinion polls and so on. These guys don't care. They say, no, you can't do that. Which, I agree, you can't do this. But somehow they can do it in Georgia, but they can't do it in the United States of America. I mean, if you uphold the principle, you uphold it regardless of the location and the people involved, and right? The parliamentary majority in Georgia has withdrawn a controversial bill on registering foreign agents following massive protests in the capital, Tbilisi. However, lawmakers insisted they do not intend to drop the initiative completely. So they don't want to, they say, okay, we're going to see, maybe we'll do something else. I'm guessing, despite the move, the opposition has vowed to continue its protest. So the opposition uses this protest, let's put it this way, in order to make the other party cave in. So this is not a democratic this is not a democratic system, is it? It's like we have here a household, and we have to make a determination, but then I bring my neighbors here to threaten you, to beat you up if you don't do what I want, and I'm in the majority. I thought that the majority, I'm in my minority. I thought that the majority rules according to the democratic principles. So what happened now? We have a minority, which is minority parties, that the opposition, these guys here, which I don't know if they're necessary with the majority or not, but they have the imperium. I mean, those guys have the imperium. That's how I learned here in the United States that you do it. These guys will vote, all right? Then whatever law is going to be instituted, when you get the power, if people say, oh, that's wrong, they will vote against those guys who did it, the party that's in power right now, and they will vote you in the power. And when you get in power, you're going to bring that back in the parliament, and you go and vote it and take it out. And then when these guys, if the population did not like that one, are going to vote these ones, these guys are going to get up. I thought that's the way a system is supposed to work, unless some toddlers, some narcissistic toddlers lose. And when they lose, they throw a fit. And when they throw a fit, they start yelling, they start throwing stuff, they start attacking you, and all that. That's what's happening over there. It's very curious. When in Ukraine happened the same thing, with Maidan and all that, the same thing happened about a seemingly unimportant economic treaty with Russia versus the European Union, and it became violent. It changed the whole thing. They overthrew a legitimate, democratically elected government, and then these guys who took over with the help of outside agencies, mind you, they were immediately recognized by the democratic countries. These guys who took over through a coup. And they tell me now there's democracy and let me play the violin for you. So let's see what's further here. In a joint statement on Thursday, the ruling Georgian Dream Party and People's Power movement admitted that the bill had caused differences in opinion in society. If approved, it will mandate all organizations that receive more than 20% of their funding from abroad to register as foreign agents. I mean, you can have it whenever you don't like something in the parliament, you rile up the people, or people just rile up and you do, okay, you do this. Remember what the Americans said? Who was that? And Baerbock, not Baerbock, was the previous German Minister of Defense. She left, let's put it this way. I don't, and the American, I think it was Blinken. I'm not making decisions based on the mob, on the public. Okay, well, thank you very much. And I'm quoting, the machine of lies was able to prevent the bill in a negative light and misled a certain part of the public, end quote. The statement read. It added that critics had falsely labeled the initiative as a Russian law. Exactly, that's what they did. And who are those critics? The mass media? Yeah, right? Who else? And had framed it as a departure from Georgia's European course. Again, I'm the party in power. I can make decisions for you. That's why I'm here, to represent you. And you're not speaking for the majority, I'm guessing, because I don't know. I don't know if you're the majority or minority. Wait, work within the system, wait and vote. And when you're going to vote, you're going to get me out, right? Okay, Georgia's MPs hailed the way law enforcement officials had handled this week's unrest and claimed that, and I'm quoting, radical forces were able to involve some of the youth in illegal activities. To disperse the crowds, police had used tear gas and water cannon, while protesters hurled Molotov cocktails and fireworks. So this is not... this happened yesterday, I think, in United States of America. It was an attack of some guys, throwing Molotov cocktails and fireworks in the United States, and they were arrested. About, how many were, like 20 or something, from different states actually. There was something organized, and they were charged with domestic terrorism in the United States of America. So does the protesters meet that definition? I don't know. But if you behaved illegally or in that kind of way, you should be arrested, investigated, and charged or not charged. Considering all of the above, we have decided to unconditionally withdraw the bill we supported without any reservations, the statement said. However, the Georgian opposition signaled that it intends to continue the protests, claiming that it was not clear how the bill would be withdrawn and demanding that the authorities release all those detained during the 2 days of arrest. No, if you committed acts of violence, you committed in the society. You can't just say, well, in the name of politics, I just killed a few people. I disagree with that. No, you can't. No. I'm also, if I'm in that society, what you did, you destroyed property. You attacked people. You should pay for that in any society. According to the official data, the Georgian police arrested 133 people amid the protest. And I'm quoting, they will definitely be a rally today because there are many young people who do not trust Georgian dream. Yeah, and many young people trust them. So then, what do I want to do? Fight? Fist fight? Is that your solution? That's why we have civilization, to follow rules that we agreed upon. The United Nations movement said in a joint statement with other opposition groups on Facebook. The clashes between police and protesters started on Tuesday after the Georgian parliament voted in favor of the Foreign Agent Bill. A comparable law was adopted in Russia in 2012, which in turn bears a strong resemblance to the 1938 American Foreign Agents Registration Act. But hey, the problem is not the act and whatever the bill was supposed to be voted on. The problem is the wrong people are over there, and the wrong people work against the agenda. And the agenda is these guys have to go into European Union and be a NATO member state. Obviously, Russia doesn't like that, and they will do everything they can do over there. And I don't see any military attacks yet over there or anything like that. And the other side does the same thing. The problem we have here, people who are violent. And if you agree with that, imagine that people come to your house and are violent. Always put yourself in that. Or let's say you work in your office and some thugs come, they want to change the policy and they start breaking stuff and getting in your office. And say, it's okay, don't arrest them. It's free speech. Well, I'm okay with the free speech, but that's not free speech anymore. It turned into something else. Okay? And as I said, use a surveillance cameras, use whatever you need to use, investigate transparently, provide the evidence, you have the defense, judge, and so on, and find out what happened. And if you were violent, do like the January 6th insurrection, right? Put them in jail and keep them over there if they were violent or they broke the law, correct? Otherwise, if we're not consistent with following and obeying the law, we turn into a banana republic. That's the whole thing. All countries, all societies on this planet have rules and laws. We all have them. But the fact that some countries and some nations, some however groups, some societies are not consistent, as consistent as others, because in the United States, other people don't follow their laws, they do illegal stuff and they don't get punished. But that happens. You have that. You can't have a perfect system. I agree with that. But that means minimizing this kind of behavior. But the consistency in, upholding the law, enforcing the law, that's the key. And if the law becomes tyrannical or the enforcers become tyrannical, that's a different story. I don't see any evidence here that anything tyrannical happened. Do you? It's just disinterest versus disinterest fight on Georgia. And Georgia is going to turn into Ukraine. Very possible, very possible. I don't know if they can open a front right now, but we'll find out. I think that's just another coup that's in progress. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.